maybe there's just enough resources for black to just parry the one threat that will be
Let me get Alejandro in on this discussion. I mean, we all like Wesley's position very, very much. How big an advantage is it? I mean, here is Peter throwing down the gauntlet. It's hard to win.
And out, it might not be so difficult if he just has to parry one threat at a time. The one that is getting into a little bit of trouble, in my opinion, is Linear Dominguez. He is down to a minute. I think I would start with the move g4, see where the knight goes, perhaps even consider the move rook h7. But unfortunately for white, after the move rook h7, knight d6, you still have to create
pretty dry position.
Yeah.
I think Linear is reasonably
ready
okay
to
with
handle.
how this is going. Yeah.
Have you ever, were you ever a time trouble addict or just the reverse? Were you
I think it ends up being a draw.
winner or draw?
draw.
I'll go with the win.
Okay. H5 is an interesting choice there because I think trying to discourage the one additional source of play for white with g2, g4 is interesting. But you now have to solve the issue of kind of just not dropping the pawn on h5. I think it starts with queen e6 because queen h4 currently is a very strong threat. And if you play king g6, I think king g6 just straight up loses to queen g3 check.
Oops.
So you need to protect the f6 pawn first to be able to play queen h4, king g6 and not drop any material.
So you think queen e6 is the...
Yeah, but actually now that I look at this, queen h4?
Queen h4?
Yeah.
I was about to start
one specific thing there. Queen
Yes,
h4,
absolutely.
King g6,
Yes.
and shockingly g2, g4 in this position because there is no check from e1.
No check from
So
e1.
you can trade all the pawns, and then f5 check is going to be a very, very strong threat. Maybe f6, f5 is playable here because after queen g5 check, king f7, white does win the pawn on f5, but you have to relinquish control over the e1 square, which is very, very relevant. But this is now very concrete, and also I'm wondering if queen takes f5 here is winning or not.
Whoa.
I mean, are you willing?
Pawns. No,
I mean, willing to bet a house it doesn't?
No, not at all. It may even be a simple win actually, as the king can glide straight up the board to c5.
Why which squares?
Through c5, I would put.
So you go bishop e5, king c3, d4,
f6,
c5.
yeah, and I go that way, and because the pawns are so far. Something concrete in the position, Alejandro.
It's always concrete in chess, but
Position. The move I'm playing all the time, I want king h2. End of story. I definitely
I
want
think the
king
reason
h2.
for queen f2 is that I think with white you get the feeling here that black is about to establish some kind of a perimeter which will be hard to breach. And by playing queen f2, we're trying to attack some weaknesses before that perimeter is established.
But I don't understand what the fortress that you're going to establish is. Whereas, for example, if I go king h2,
Yeah.
I stop these c3 tricks,
Absolutely.
and I get to go queen a7,
Absolutely.
and I don't have to worry about the c3.
But let's say
Alejandro.
if black gets enough time to play, as we've discovered, as we've described, like queen e6, king g6, it's going to be quite difficult to break this down. And I mean,
Okay.
you can start from the other side. You can go like queen a2 here or queen b2 and start creating threats on that side.
Sure, let's
But
do
all
it.
those things also allow queen d6, which might be a bit awkward because f4 pawn is, we don't really want to play g3, and we don't really want to allow queen takes f4. So I think queen f2 is a very understandable decision because he wants to ask questions before move 40 as well. I think that's also a part of the equation here, is that white really like Wesley knows like he can probably pass for 3 moves and still not be
At
lost,
least.
right? So
Like I could go bishop c3,
Yeah.
queen d4, queen d2. And,
But Shakhriyar is somewhat low on time. So I think it makes practical sense for Wesley to try and find questions to ask before Shakhriyar gets his half an hour on move 40.
All right.
So I think queen f2 is logical.
Queen f2, queen f8. Okay, so let's say one of these days I'm actually going to be able to get the setup I want, which is actually, funnily enough, to put my king on h4, which I do believe is kind of untouchable.
Yeah, it's a
I'll
nice
put my
setup,
queen
yeah.
on d4, which kind of forces you, ties black down to f6. And then